Hello ratbags, it's Jade, welcome to the Survival Release Show. Every start of the month I'll give you the breakdown of the hottest and biggest survival games, and sometimes some I'm just interested in, the big info for this month, and what's on the horizon next month, as well as any big announcements or changes to games and their release dates later on in the year. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe for the home of survival games, news, guides and opinion, and please leave a like if you find this video useful. As always, timestamps to the information you really want to know, and let's go into everything to do with survival right now. Conan Exiles, the Icarus siptah DLC, is now available for everyone to try on Xbox, PlayStation and PC. They gave a release date just after my last show and it came out on the 27th of May. I did think this was a pretty stupid idea, so close to so many big releases and of course Ark Survival Evolved, but they lucked out with Ark delaying their DLC by a week. We'll get to that in a second. Conan also is making splashes because it's now free on the Games Pass. It's been a rocky road the last year and a half for Conan Exiles, not really communicated very well, and the updates, especially for console, have been absolutely diabolically bad. But the new DLC hopefully is a step in the right direction. They've actually released it at the same price as it was in early access, which was a big surprise, and kudos for them. Maybe it's a little sorry and a thank you to their ardent fans that have been supporting them and not increasing it to some stupid amount. $20 for the new DLC is not bad, and they do have plans to keep the game updated. A new free update did launch, also adding a brand new Spider God and a bunch of other content to consoles and PC as well. I'm hoping there's enough servers. One of my ratbags, Lena, helped me out and took a look at how many there were running on a PlayStation, and they only had space for 2,200 people on the brand new map. That seems pretty small considering Conan Exiles has been free with PS Plus and it's got a lot of fans. But you guys let me know, can you actually get onto the servers? What's it like playing a new DLC? And what do you think of the changes that have gone through to Conan Exiles over the last couple of months? I will be returning to Conan Exiles soon, but just not yet. Going Medieval is launching today in early access on Steam only. It is a medieval city building game with survival elements. You're facing off against creatures as they try and attack you eventually, and maybe a little bit more as you try and build up your medieval village, controlling your family, growing your clan, and hopefully becoming a medieval lord. I like these games, I really do. I can't really show them too much on the channel, but I am going to try and sit down with a live stream at some point later on this week and just chill out with it. As with all early access games, expect lots of bugs, but I'm hoping this one is pretty decent. I have given it a little bit of a whirl. It's a typical builder simulation style game, but that element of survival is definitely there, and I really want to get some time into it, get some experience, because it's been a while since I really played one of these games. Out now, early access on Steam. And of course, probably the biggest release in June is Ark Genesis 2 DLC, the final DLC, officially anyway, for the base game of Ark. With the sequel planned for some point in 2022, this might not actually still be the end of any content. Wildcard have recently revealed that there will be another sponsored free map coming to consoles and PC at some point between now and the release of the next game sequel. But circling back to what this DLC offers, it is meant to be the last official DLC of Ark 1. Brand new creatures like the Shadow Mane, which go invisible, Maywing, which steals and looks after baby dinos, and of course the Void Worm, a huge bionic mechanical beast. There hasn't been much gameplay shown off in the last few months, but we have been teased by a lot of the concept art for a lot of these items. Lots of new ways to get around the map, lots of new items including the canoe, Gatling gun, tech pistol. It's all very futuristic, as befits the setting, as an Ark flies through space to an unknown planet destination with hopefully the remnants of the survivors. Will you actually make it to your destination with Rockwell, the returning enemy throughout the series, seemingly in control and in charge for this last DLC? No times as yet of when it's going live. Expect it to obviously be at some point though on PC first, and then consoles appearing a few hours later. Let's just hope it's like last year though, where PS4 actually got it first. Ark Gen 2 cannot be bought separately. Don't forget also, you can go and grab it with the first Genesis 1 DLC as a season pass, or buy the Ark Ultimate Edition, which recently got announced. 50 quid, it's got every single bit of DLC in the game, and if you've never stepped into the world of Ark, I gotta say it's pretty much a bargain. Literally over 9 maps to explore, hundreds and hundreds of creatures and new items to play with. You'll have thousands of hours of Ark content if you enjoy it. But this last DLC should offer the final conclusion and the ending of our first chapter. I'll hopefully be there with some guides and gameplay showing you the brand new map. Huge, massive biomes to explore, the biggest map ever, the biggest amount of creatures. Wildcard are promising. It promises to go out with a bang. Let's just hope it runs well on consoles as well as PC. No confirmed exact times just yet, but at some point on June the 2nd. Until We Die is a side-scrolling strategy survival game about you getting your minions and pretty much taking on the mutants. Until We Die is out June the 3rd on Steam and is coming to Nintendo Switch as well. Maybe not the full open world exploration you come to expect from a lot of survival, but with the base building and horde style defences, I think this is definitely worth a shout if you're interested in something a bit different. And the best part, it's got a free demo to give it a try for yourself. I really dig this art style. I loved games like these, a little bit indie, a little bit quirky, and yeah, I want to see if I could possibly survive in the subways and make sure my team doesn't necessarily get eaten by all these mutants. Now, a game that won't be available for everyone, but I still think it's worth putting in here, is Breakwaters. This game I've been following a long time. I included it last year in Kickstarter games you need to watch. It didn't manage to get the funding it needed last year, but for the second time round, it absolutely smashed its funding goals, and it's looking to be a real special open world survival game. You'll be running a procedurally generated map, taking on massive giant bosses, as well as trying to understand the waterways and manipulating the water to your benefit. There's base building, there's farming, there's crafting, all the kind of stuff you'd expect, with a little hint of RPG thrown in there too. Multiple ways to get across the map, whether it's by sail or by air glider, and of course the typical just running away from the big scary laser beams. The manipulation of the water just looks epic, and does look like you're going to have to use your brain a little bit to solve some of the riddles of defeating some of these monsters and getting around the map. As I said, this is a Kickstarter project, but the beta for it is going live very soon. I do believe lots of backers of the project will be gaining access, and it does look like they're going to be opening it up to some creators too. So expect to see some Breakwater gameplay very soon at the beginning of June. It's been in development a long time, and it's definitely giving me them Valheim vibes. I hope it is as successful and I hope it is as good. I'll be checking this out for sure very majorly in the next coming months. Chivalry 2 on June the 8th is arriving. The sequel to probably the OG medieval fighting game is finally here. It's got a lot to live up to, with Mordau absolutely smashing things in the last couple of years. Chivalry 2 isn't necessarily a shoo-in for reclaiming its spot as the #1 medieval fighting simulation game. You get the idea with this, lots of siege warfare, lots of sweaty players going against each other, but there are some great additions. I do believe it's crossplay across all modes, a variety of different game styles have been added, and expect even more classes and more options with weapons and armors. The beta just concluded or is just about to finish right now, and although it's strictly not a survival game, I still kind of like the idea of this one. Hopefully I'll get some time to cover it in the next couple of weeks. As far as I can tell, the open beta they did was pretty good, and the price of it's looking decent as well, and I love the fact it's crossplay. June the 8th, all platforms, Epic, Steam, Xbox and PlayStation. June the 9th is Green Hell finally coming to Xbox and PlayStation. This Amazonian survival game where you are pretty much trying to find your missing wife while fighting off indigenous people and of course lots of creatures, as well as the ailments. You're going to have to do more than just simply eat a piece of food to get your health back up in this game. You'll have to inspect different parts of your bodies, pull off the leeches and make sure you've got bandages on the right cuts. The game's been out on Steam a number of years now, and Xbox and PlayStation fans can look forward to co-op adventures together up to 4 players. But there won't be any crossplay between consoles or PC, and the game is somewhat behind as PC does have a brand new update in the last few months called the Spirits of Amazonia. This update adds a lot more NPC story quests so that you're not always fighting against indigenous people, but the developers have said that this update will be arriving on console in the future. With lots of different game modes, survival, challenges, free build, this should be a great experience for console fans. I'm just hoping it runs and performs a lot better than the Switch version did. June the 9th, Xbox and PlayStation, Green Hell. On that same day, a little bit of an off one for me called Farmer's Life. This is a Steam only game. You control a very much Russian farmer as he goes about through his life and struggles, pretty much building up his farm, making sure he's milking the cows right, and even helping give birth. To the cows, that is, not himself. It looks a bit silly, it looks a bit stupid, but it also looks like it's a proper farming simulation game. So yeah, a bit off kilter this one, but I like the comedy in it, I like the vibe, so I'm going to try and give this one a shot. Early access, June the 9th on Steam only. June the 10th, it's a busy time, mid-June, is of course Open Country. This game is coming out to Xbox, PlayStation and PC. It's made by the same guys that have ported over a couple of survival games now. Fun Labs have helped out with games like Unturned, as well as Stranded Deep come to console. You'll be running around open country, somewhere probably in the northwestern hemisphere, hunting creatures, building up little hunting camps, completing challenges and scenarios, all the while with the help and aid of a dog. Yes, you can pet the doggo in open country. It's promising to mix in a good way hunting and survival, with lots of different maps to explore, all with unique challenges and different items to try. It's not just single player, you will be able to play this with your pals in online co-op by looks of things. It has been delayed a couple times already, only by a few weeks, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to trying this one out. I've got access to this already. I'm hopefully going to sit down with it very soon and show you guys what to expect when Open Country hits on June 10th. June the 17th is Starbase. This is probably the biggest MMO to hit in a while. It is a space survival MMO. Think Space Engineers, but an actual proper MMO where you can have hundreds and hundreds of players. That's the goal with Starbase. It's been in beta for such a long time, and this is the start of its early access life. You can craft and build your own spaceships, or even put together with others and build a huge space station. Expect lots of PvP action, safe zones, trading, all the kind of usual gubbins you'll get with an MMO, and it could be interesting as long as the performance holds out. Starbase could be one of the biggest MMOs this year. Only available on Steam as you would expect, with no plans as yet announced for Xbox or PlayStation. To be completely honest, the survival elements might not be as big as I first thought, but you're obviously surviving against other players, so yeah, it could be interesting one to get behind. These games often require quite a bit of dedication to get into though, and the building does look pretty complicated, definitely on par with Space Engineers, but I reckon you'll find ways to forge a path in this game. Maybe you can enroll as a fighter, or just simply try and do lots of missions and quests, get the money to go and buy other creations. That's the kind of stuff they've been teasing. They've been showing off loads of gameplay, loads of combat and stuff over the last year and a half, and this is a really, looks of things, well thought out beta and early access period they've been leading up to. A big departure from the makers of the Trin series of games. June the 17th, Starbase. And that pretty much concludes June's actual guaranteed release date so far. But there are some big updates for some of the games that may be coming out at the end of June. Grounded is going to be celebrating its 1 year anniversary very soon, and it looks like the end of June is when all of the update content for that will be going live. They recently announced they're not going to be updating every single month to make sure they've got plenty of time and refine some bigger updates. And we're hoping that Valheim gets an update at some point in June too, but probably definitely towards the end of it. Devs have been teasing little screenshots of stuff that's incoming, and I'll be looking forward to seeing what the Home and Hearth, or the Hearth and Home update really adds to it. And so far for July, there's a couple releases that I'm super interested in, and I'm hoping they are still releasing. Chernobylite is a RPG survival experience horror game that's come to Xbox and PlayStation, and it's been on PC a couple of years now, but this will be the first time consoles get this game. Expect lots of mutants and monsters as you try and survive, scraping resources or completing missions out in a horrible wilderness filled with radiation. No release set date yet other than just July. But it's looking pretty good. A little bit too scary for me maybe, but I definitely think some people will really like this, particularly if you like the Stalker series of games, and it does look like it's got a pretty involved crafting method as you explore mysteries and supernatural occurrences in Pipekrets in Ukraine. I so apologise as I've definitely said that wrong. I'm going to see if I can get hold of this, and I'll definitely try and give it a live stream. And Little Devil Inside still hasn't been delayed, but I'm kind of expecting it. But so far, it is apparently still coming out in July. This is going to be a PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 exclusive for a while, but it has got plans to release on Xbox and Nintendo Switch in the far future. Very looking forward to this one, but their lack of content recently, or any updates about how the game's going, does make me believe they'll probably delay again. And so for a game that actually started out in 2014 being developed, it's going to be a longer time still, I think, before we actually get to try this Monster Hunter styled survival game. Fighting big monsters, completing missions, exploring smaller little locations. That's what you're going to get with this game by looks of things. I can't wait to give it a shot once eventually we get a confirmed release date. And finishing off with a couple games to keep on your horizon. Icarus still doesn't have an actual release date, but recently on their Steam page it has now listed as coming 2021 in the fall. That's pretty interesting as they've been ramping up the PR in the last couple of weeks, showcasing all sorts of stuff. Pretty much every other day revealing either a dev blog, live streaming and actually showing the gameplay on Twitch with its creators. or some sort of blog that you can go read. It's an open world survival game where you get launched onto an alien planet and have a set amount of time to gather resources before trying to make your escape. If you don't make your escape in time, you will lose all of your progress and die. The footage you're seeing right now is their latest 4K biome showcase. Made by the original creator of DayZ, Dean Anthony Hall. It's got a lot to live up to, and it's looking more of a cross between Deep Rock Galactic and maybe Minecraft than maybe what you expect from a DayZ creator. But yeah, it's really interesting. I like the look of this one. It is going to be co-op, and it does look like they might be dialing back on their plans to make it free to play, as they've recently been a little bit more coy on the price of it. But definitely keep my eye on this one, and I'm going to start covering it a little bit more in the coming weeks. Obviously not releasing soon, but I always keep you guys in the loop about what's been changing and happening. Dying Light 2 has finally revealed a proper release date, and it's technically still this year. Originally meant to come out last year, then got delayed to April this year, and now finally December. I still wouldn't put any hopes into this game actually arriving then. It's had multiple issues and problems apparently during development. But if it does manage to launch in December, it could be a really good time to give it a shot, just after all the hype of November and October big releases. Obviously, you know the concept, surviving against zombies in an urban atmosphere. And that is it, that is the survival release show. If there's any games you feel I've missed coming out in June or July, let me know in the comment section. As always, stay tuned for me on a daily basis to keep up with everything to do with survival. Going forward, there's going to be some big changes to my channel, how I give you the news and info, pretty much daily live streams for a big chunk of the week. Anything that's dropping, anything that's happening in the world of survival, as well as taking a look at stuff and talking to you guys a little bit more. And then I'm going to be going back to maybe the basics of the biggest and best survival games, news, guides and opinion about the ones that you guys are really enjoying, with more focused little videos every now and then on stuff that's upcoming. Let me know what you're excited for most out of all the games I've shown today and which ones you may be thinking about buying. Until next time, Ratbags, I'll catch you later.